Have you ever had a goal that you wanted to achieve and after weeks or months of work, you realize that you haven't come any closer to that goal? Or do you know exactly what you have to do and what your main task is, but you seem to find every reason and every excuse why your main task has to wait and why you have to do less important tasks first? Yes, we are talking about procrastination today, and this should be like a no BS guide how to first of all become aware of it and then to how to overcome procrastination. So the most common definition is, as far as I know, that procrastination is some like phenomenon where you always put off your most important task and then change it with some less important task or even no task, and thereby unproductive and get nothing done. Yes, this is correct. However, these are just the symptoms of procrastination. I think last year or the year before that I learned like what procrastination actually is. And what procrastination actually is, it is the denial of an experienced pain. And knowing this definition makes it also obvious what we can do about it. Because if you have goals and if you are also working on your goals, you probably know the following. To have all your goals and all your to-dos and you were very busy like working on your goals, and then at some point you realized, okay, I'm not where I wanted to be, and I planned to be much further by now, and you realized, okay, nothing has really get done. Okay, and then you realize you have procrastinated a lot in the last couple of weeks or months. The thing is, we are usually not aware of us procrastinating in that moment when we are procrastinating. It is only afterwards when we reflect on our goals and where we want to stand by now that we realize, okay, that we have procrastinated. This also makes the first step what we have to do obvious. Because the ego is so subtle with manipulating us, we are usually, like I said, not aware of when we are procrastinating. You have experienced that. So the first step is we have to become aware of when we are procrastinating or whether we are procrastinating. And an interesting thing that I learned is that we are usually the least aware when we are constantly in action and in working mode. Because when we are like working, we are so focused on our work and to get this done that we don't have time and we don't have like the headspace to reflect on things. So if we want to reflect and become aware of things, the best way is to just take time off and to not work. Ideally, you take like a couple of days or just a couple of hours off and go somewhere where you don't have like all this stress, where there's nobody that will interrupt you and your like thinking process. Yes, and there's some question that I prepared that you could use to or that you can ask yourself to use and to reflect if you have problems with that. How much productive work did I get done in the last week or last month? If I could have this week or this month back, would I do everything exactly the same, or would I change things and in order to get more done? If every week or every month would look the same, productivity-wise, like the last week or last month, would I even achieve my goals? Or would I achieve my goals quickly enough? What was my most important task last week or last month? Did I finish my most important task, or did I put it off for something less important? So if you answer these questions, I hope you will become aware whether you procrastinated or not. And then it's time for step 2. Because procrastination is always a denial of an experienced pain, or a pain that we just don't want to experience and want to avoid. We now have to ask ourselves, what kind of pain do I want to avoid? Because that's always the essence of procrastination. And usually I can tell you it's not, it is a pain, but it's more precisely, it is a negative emotion that we want to avoid. And usually the negative emotions are shame, guilt, fear, and grief that we don't want to experience. And if you caught yourself procrastinating, it's very likely that you believe that you will experience one of these emotions if you like finish your task. So here are also some questions for you. What pain or what negative emotion do you think will you experience when you get your most important task done? What are you afraid of? What do you fear might happen? For example, do you procrastinate on starting a business because you are afraid of failing? So you don't want to experience fear. And also shame in this situation, because you might not want to be shamed by your surroundings. Do you procrastinate, for example, talking to your crush because you fear getting rejected? This would be shame. Or also a very common one, are you afraid of opening letters, maybe, because you are afraid of seeing all these bills and all these payment reminders? This would also be fear, or maybe also apathy. So 2 examples from my life why I procrastinated heavily was, for example, this YouTube channel. I wanted to start a channel since I'm probably 16, but I never felt good enough. And also a couple months before I started actually this channel, I also thought about starting it, and yeah, I didn't do it because of fear. I was afraid that people will hate on my videos, like that I will get a lot of hate, and of course shame, that my family and friends will find out and that they will shame me for it. And I still like fear these emotions sometimes, but now I already started the channel. Yes, so this is one example. Another example is a very recent one, because you may know that I'm working on a business, or I'm about to start a business or launch my first product. And currently I seem to find every reason like not to work on my business and not to launch my first product, even though there are not many steps left until I can launch my product. I seem to work out more, I seem to focus on my language learning more intensely, and I also in fact scripted this video and prepared for this video instead of working on my business. If you've seen the monthly review of August, you know that this month's not much happened for my business. And then I realized, okay, fuck, I was heavily procrastinating. And yes, step 2, then I asked myself, okay, what am I afraid of? And yes, I realized that I was afraid of failing, because only if I can, that's what I realized, only if I launch my product, then I can fail. But as long as I procrastinate on with launching my product, then I cannot fail, because I can blame the fact that I didn't launch it in the first place. As soon as I launch it, and if I fail, then I'm a failure, and then people can shame me. So that's why I procrastinate on launching my product. Okay, so yes, step 3, what can we do about it? So first of all, we have to realize, okay, fear is an illusion. That's also what Zen Buddhism says. Fear is an illusion. I think that's the main teaching in Zen Buddhism, but I'm not sure. Yes, and it's a manipulation by our ego. And then what we can do is once we have observed the pain and know, okay, I feel pain and I'm afraid of X or Y, we can give ourselves like all the logical reasons why this pain is unreasonable, because usually the pain is unreasonable, or the fear. You probably will feel afraid anyway, even though you have all the logical reasons, but like it seems to help me a little bit. Yes, and then we just have to like grab our balls and just do it anyway. Because usually like we realize that the things we are afraid of are usually the things that leverage our success the most, or that brings us the furthest at the moment. The things we are afraid of are the things that like have the possibility to improve our life the most. So in some sense, fear is also like an indicator of the things that we should do in order to improve our life. Yes, and that's it. This is what procrastination is, and in my opinion, there's 3 steps how you can best deal with procrastination. And yes, I hope that you liked the video and you liked the content, and you can like write me a comment if these 3 steps work for you. And yes, as always, let's stop talking and let's start building our dream life. Knowing this, Alter.